We now invite Ms. Namrata Shah, our first presenter for this session.
Hello, very good morning. I'm Namrata Shah, and for those who don't know me, I am a textile designer from Shrishti School of Art Design and Technology, Bangalore. I run a craft design brand called Two Up, Two Down, which was established sometime, which was rather conceptualized sometime in December 2009, but we actively started work sometime 2012. So, my journey with natural dye has actually just begun. It was during COVID time when I started dabbling with natural dyes, but I feel like a little fish in the pond because there's so many, accomplished, you know, what do you call? We have some very accomplished people here who are pioneers in natural dyes. So I'm really glad that I have been able to connect with many of them, and I hope I'll be able to take this forward. What I'm going to talk about more is design interwoven with craft and community building. So I'm going to play a short video that talks a little about our brand and a team. Could we please first play the video? Yeah. So that's my little team. I'm going to start with. Okay. So I just wanted to touch a little on what exactly is craft. When I looked up the internet, it said craft can be described as a distinctive knowledge that is intuitive and expressed through making and doing, which pretty much summarizes our understanding. What makes us choose craft? I think through my years of experience of interacting with different clients, some clients who are pretty much educated about the craft, but some who are more drawn towards maybe the look and the feel of the product. To summarize, they all actually are somewhere looking for something very unique, something very different, not something that is, it's one of a kind. And I think in the process, they're also investing into like a community. They're pretty much being part of a maker's journey. And I think also craft is a very important aspect of, identity, especially when you are traveling abroad. I have interacted with people from different craft groups, and the first thing that when we say we are an Indian, I think they think they sort of talk about bandhani. So I think it's a very strong identity also, craft. It kind of is above caste, geography. It kind of surpasses all those boundaries. Um, so a little about Two Up, Two Down. Two Up, Two Down is a women-led craft design brand. It was established sometime in 2009. As I mentioned, it was conceptualized that time, but we actually started work a little later. We establish in the techniques of shibori, eco prints, natural dyes, and very basic hand embroideries. And our journey of handwovens has just begun about 2 months ago. Our strengths is that we actually all are all women team. So it's interesting how this whole journey began. Just to give you a little brief background, I studied textiles from Shishti, but then my diploma project happened in Bangladesh. And I was working for 4 5 years, with the handloom sector in Bangladesh. And I also had the opportunity of doing some small collections for Ruby Ghaznavi, which was actually a privilege. Um, and I did that for 4 5 years, came back to Bangalore, and I wanted to sort of get back to craft. So I set up 4 5 looms and started working with training women for weaving. But I was not having that kind of foresight. I realized after 2 3 years, all these women were getting married and they moved on. So I was with empty looms. And then I sort of took a break and I worked with a couple of corporates just to understand what I really wanted to do. And I came back. And my parents were kind enough to sort of offer the farmland. It's a lovely coconut farm. And they said, why don't you start something here? So I was inclined to do handwovens, but I also happened to meet two ladies who had come to ask for farm work. And then I kind of offered them, to teach them something different, which meant it was more sustainable, which was more respectable as a job. And Nirmala is the lady who's been with me from day one. She's pretty much the team lead. She's been with me now for about 10 years. And it's commendable that now we started with two girls. I was also pretty much new to the technique, so we started doing basic embroideries, and it was very accidentally that we got into shibori, trying to do different techniques. And it's been a great journey since then. Now we are a team of so it's a bootstrapped kind of format where we have pretty much funded ourselves. But now we are a team of about 12 to 14, team, and we have 5 6 people who come and take work home. But yeah, so our core strength is that we're an all-women's team, and we pretty much train and discover the talents and the strength of the women, and pretty much then push them into doing that which they enjoy. Innovation, we spend a lot of time on R&D. What we also really like is we try and collaborate with different artisans. So most of our work also has some amount of block print, embroidery, so we kind of cross-promote different cultures. And so we are a nice little family and very proud of it. And most of these women are also now financially independent. Some of them also support families. So that's a great feeling. This is just a general workflow of how we go about. So since most of these women don't come with any skill background, we pretty much train them. So there's a 3-month training that we impart, and then we identify their core strength. The 3-month training is paid training, and then we kind of educate them about the client. So 70% of our work is exports and 30 is domestic. So most of them are educated about the client profile and the kind of requirement they have, so that they are more accountable and they know what is expected of them. And sort of we just have a very sort of straightforward process where we kind of we're very, very, very particular about the quality check. And being handcrafted, I think sometimes we just sort of, feel like, oh, it's okay to have a little bit of damage or a little bit of errors, but I think we are very particular with our quality check. And lastly is the presentation, the packing and finishing. This is just a client profile brief. I'll probably skip this and give you an example of how we have actually gone about from design to delivering the product with one of our clients. This is Titan Raga. For those who don't know Titan Raga, Titan is a wristwatch company, and they had approached us and they wanted us to design wristwatch straps which were in silk, and they wanted it to be designed in such a way that they were interchangeable. So we had some key directions from them that they wanted a very bohemian look, a craft, 1 minute, a very craft feel, and they wanted obviously shibori, they wanted fun, they wanted a bit of a color pop, and they want some details. And the finishes they wanted was antimicrobial, stain resistant, and a calendar finish. And the age group they were looking was a little bit more young, between 20 and 40. So we came up with two different versions, which was after quite a few discussions, we came up one which was a more strap kind of a thing, which could be just knotted and tied. And the other one was like cords, so they could just play around and tie it in different ways. Each cord was hand embroidered. So this is the final kind of a look. It wasn't easy because we had to do almost about 3,500 straps of the fabric, and about because each of the watches had about 4 cords, so which meant about 12,000 straps for the corded ones. And we did it within the 3.5-month timeline. We set up 4 groups, and each of them had a person in charge. And we tied up with a small-time tailor to do the tailoring. And it's amazing. Everything was very well coordinated, very well, it was pretty much on auto mode, and everybody knew what they had to do. So it was a success, and we didn't have any rejects at all. So that was great. That's pretty much the finished product. And that's a little what we have done with the group. This is just an example of what the level of skill that these ladies have acquired over a period of time. Natural dyes, we have just it's been 2 years that we've started doing natural dyes and eco-printing. Again, we like to combine different techniques. It's been a very interesting journey. We've recently done about 250 woolen shawls in eco-print and natural dye, and it's nice that we are now confident that we are going to be able to scale this up. Interestingly, also, it's been about 8 months that we started the indigo vat, and that also has happened when I visited Kutch last year in March. I met Shamji Bhai's nephew, who's Ashok Bhai, in Kutch, and we spent about 6 hours, and he gave me a few cues on how to go about setting up. And he was very kind to give me his number, and he said, give me a call every week and give me an update. And we set up a VAT 8 months ago, and it's really nice that I understand. I was earlier going by the book, 1:2:3 ratio, but now I understand the VAT. I know when it sort of needs more lime or more reducing agent or indigo, and the VAT is happy. It's been 8 months now, so we're quite happy, and we're going to take our first order on that. So this is Woven Wonders, which has just started about 2 months ago. So this is in a place called MAALGAADi, which is between Bangalore and Mysore. This is almost like, this used to be a temple. This is a temple town, and there used to be about 400 weavers. Now there are about 10 weavers maybe. And I happened to meet a weaver who is very passionate about weaving, but now he works at a dairy. And I have sort of bought him a loom because he's packed up his loom, and there's no way he can open it up because his house isn't now that big. He's moved to another house. And I spent a week in his house actually. I stayed there, and I studied his strength and found out that what they used to weave was very fine muslin panche. Panche is lungi, and then they moved to silks. So what I understand is they can do plain silk. So now we have into design innovation is we have started doing woven embellishments. So we're weaving beads in, and this is something very new. So we would be launching a fairly big collection sometime soon. The target is to sort of take this forward, not just for apparel but more for home also. We are trying to explore this and make it a more art piece rather than because it is a novel craft now, so might as well make it very special. So we're looking at that. And yeah, sustainability. So I think the first thing that we really did was, even before we could actually make profits or get into doing something, we don't even have till now we didn't even have a concrete structure to sit and work, but we installed a water treatment plant. I think that was very important. So since it's a farm, we have now installed the water treatment plant, and that water pretty much goes into irrigation. But the good thing is that just as we speak, we are now constructing a new unit for our team. It's a completely brand new concrete structure that we are making in the farm. Yeah, most of our products are upcycled. So this is also works as great corporate gifting. We've done corporate gifting for 3, 4, brands. And that's just a little about our awards, clients, and recognitions. And it's been really a great journey, and I feel very proud that our team is able to cater to some very leading brands like Armani. We have done work for Armani. We're doing for the last 3 years for Ola Johnson, and we've won some awards. So it's been a very rewarding journey, and as a team, we are very connected. And yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to keep it brief because I understand I'm over time. But thank you very much. And if you're in Bangalore, please do visit us. Thank you. Yes. What is that? Yes. I would love to do eco architecture provided the budget. It's expensive. So yeah, but we are looking at, we've hired an architect and she's helping us do as minimal as possible with terms of, try and see if we can at least do the soil, bricks and things like that. But yeah, that's the idea. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Namrata. Can we please have Mr. Edric?
Good morning. It's going to be a challenge for me to show you as many slides as possible within my allocated time frame. Cultural sustainability. We'll go straight on to my PowerPoint, please. Actually, what I'm going to show you are more photos so that you can understand a little bit more of what I'm doing through that fashion show that I presented last night, and the theme of From Fiber to Fashion. What you saw was actually to focus on the Iban Ikat textiles of Sarawak. These are 2 examples, and mostly dyed in natural dye from the Morinda citrifolia. This is the dye stuff, which is the root of the fruit, which we know as noni. And this is my weaver that we take, and we bring her along to our exhibitions. This was in Chile at the Museum Pre-Columbian. So these are the different, what they're known as woven dreams, is Wap Ikat textiles on the floor loom. This is then presenting it on the stage as wearable art. Then we use the tarum, the Masdenia tinctoria. We do not ferment our indigo, they are prepared fresh and used. And so you get the ubresh, which is that beautiful variation of tones within the same scarf. And this is, even though looking modern, but it is a very traditional pattern known as Bali Kalikut. The other that we have rediscovered is Akalpanawa landak, which is the yellow dye from a wild vine known as Fibrauria tinctoria. And so this is the yellow. And it is combined with indigo to give you the second and the third color. So presented again on stage whenever I present fashion collection, it is more to show the ikat textiles of the Iban communities of Sarawak. So sapan wood are some of the colors that I use in my other fashion collection. I use shibori. This is Bukaku collection, which I also presented in Hyderabad and in Ahmedabad, which is inspired from a Japanese kimono style, all in natural dyes. And these are my hats. The natural hats are in rattan or cane. Then I dye them in sapan wood. I dye them in leaves from the katapa leaves. And this is also converting the traditional baskets into hats as well for my fashion. Mangrove, we also use mangrove dyed, which was shown in our international shows, both in London and in China and in Japan. This is the katapang leaves, which is a very good dye source and very abundant because they are also like from waste to wealth. You use leaves which are just falling on the roadsides. Some of my shibori designs in katapa and hand-painted batiks with katapa dyes. Then presenting on collection. The Botanica collection, this was entirely dyed with floral colors from these wild morning glory flowers, hibiscus flowers, the African tulip tree, and then the other one, which I say green indigo, because these are freshly cut and hand-stamped indigo leaves onto the silks. Fruit peels from rambutan, this is one of the best tannin dyes. And surprisingly, when I was asked to dye innerwear, which is synthetic fabric from China, and this was the only dye that could be absorbed into synthetic. This is one of my collection, which is very artistic, I think. Hand-stamped Sarawak indigo leaves on Japanese shibori silk. Creating patterns. The other is our squirrel foot ferns, which again is a very good dye source, stamped directly onto my material. And I create very kind of like sheer chiffon and creating artwork. The Green Indigo collection in 2017, presented at the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Show. So this is upcycling shibori kimonos that I hand-stamped over to create my own design stand. And I then have recently discovered the wild figs, which is our tropical version of persimmon dye, which is Japanese and the Koreans known as kakishibu. So again, hand-painted on kakishibu dye. Fig dyes, which is solar figs without any other moderns. So the collection that you saw last night, all those ropes, which are in hand-woven cotton, were all dyed with wild figs. So I like to experiment, and from my experimentation, then playing with colors, I then challenge my weavers to play and to rediscover colors that they have lost, and to also move on to work with new fibers. Most of the scarves, like the one that this one is with Uzbekistan, very fine silk, but the shawls that you saw in the collection last night were all woven with a new fiber, which is known as tencel. So it is like they have traditionally planted their own cotton, spun and weave their own cotton, which they don't do anymore. We've been importing cotton for the last few decades. Then the cotton became rougher and more expensive. So then we have introduced silk to them like about 20 years ago, which they have now done silk WICCI very well Then recently, we wanted to have an alternative to cotton, and so we introduced to them bamboo silk, and we also introduced to them tencel, Tencel, which absorbs natural colors very well. So through all this rediscovery and innovation, we hope that the community will pass on the tradition from the older master weavers to the younger weavers. The younger weavers are continuing to weave, especially if they are young wives whose husbands, the Iban men, go out to work in the timber camps, logging camps, as well as go offshore to work on the oil rigs. So they leave their young wives with their young kids and babies in the communities, and the young women pick up, it seems to be in their genes, to be able to tie, to dye, and to weave Iban Pakumbu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Edric. Can we please have Miss Sweetie?
Vanakkam and a very good morning to all. And thank you Sakina ma'am and Shine ma'am, and my mentor Basu sir is also here today. And thank you all to giving me this opportunity to showcase and